Hi everyone, I'm Jacqueline and today we're looking at how to achieve your dream home this year. Hi guys, I hope that you had a really good January, the most boring month of the year. So we're at the start of 2024 and I'm sure like a lot of you, I've been watching every self-growth, become that girl, glow up, make 2024 your best year, level up video under the sun, because isn't that what Januaries are for? And the other day I was also thinking about all the projects I want to do in our house, and if you've watched this video then you'll know that we moved to Scotland last year and are slowly but surely redesigning all the rooms in our house. So whilst I was thinking about the things that I want to achieve in the house this year, I kind of thought that a lot of you are probably in the same boat too, and I thought why not create this useful guide on how you can create your dream home too. These are just 10 steps that I think you can use in a checklist format when you start to think about your own home transformation, kind of a mini guide as you move through the process. And of course, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I really appreciate you joining us. We talk about interior design, home decor, art, graphic design, and even architecture. So if any of those things interest you, feel free to stick around. Okay, so my first piece of advice is to focus on one room at a time, and my best piece of advice to give you is to focus on the smallest one first. If that's an obvious choice to you, then great, but more often than not, I find that people jump into their redesign projects across the whole of their house and do things bit by bit in each space. The problem with that is that your house can become very chaotic very quickly, where your house ends up being a mess. For example, if you start DIY projects in the living room and don't finish them and then move on to renovating the dining room just off of it, it's going to create so much disorder in your home, and the space will also feel incoherent as nothing will match. And if you're like me, then a messy house equals a messy mind. So start with one small room as your first project so that the work is more digestible, and also so that it doesn't interfere with the rest of your living spaces. So one small room at a time. However, that being said, if you're doing or planning on doing big renovations to your home this year, prioritize that instead. In the future, Laszlo and I want to extend the back of our house and maybe even the side of our house too, but we know that's not going to be achievable this year. If you've planned on remodeling the kitchen or remodeling a living space this year, focus on that and put other interior projects on hold. Because you'll likely be using contractors to build your project and timelines can change drastically, meaning that you just don't know how long the remodel will take. And if you're DIYing it yourself, it's probably going to take a much longer time as well. So if there are any big renovations, focus on that on its own. Number 3, assess your space. Take a look around and see what's working, what's not working, and what needs some TLC. I think we all know what works and doesn't work in our own spaces. I think they're pretty obvious too, because it's the things that annoy us on a daily basis. For example, if you're tripping up on your kids' toys every morning, you know that you need to install more storage solutions in your home. For people with kids, I love these type of trunk containers because you can literally just chuck everything in there so easily. Whereas open storage solutions like shelving, you have to take your time and put things back more meticulously, and there's no time for that. Another example is that when we moved in, there was no garage or attic space, so there was an attic technically, but it was just a shell with raw insulation sticking out, bare joists with no floorboards, so we couldn't actually use that attic space. Not to mention shoddy thin insulation, and with the Scottish weather coming up in the winter, yeah, that definitely needed to be renovated as soon as possible. We have the whole process here on the channel and I'll leave it at the end in case you want to check it out, but the point is that was the biggest thing that wasn't working in our house and we needed that extra space for storage too. So think of the functionality of each room and envision the changes you'd like to make. This is the foundation of your home's glow-up journey. Let's talk about decluttering. A clutter-free space is essential for your dream home. I know, believe me, that no one wants to do it, but I kind of thought that spring is coming up, so it's the perfect time to clear out your home before you start any design projects. Decluttering clears the space, providing a blank canvas for your redesign. It allows you to better visualize the potential of the space without being distracted by unnecessary items. Get rid of things you no longer need and invest in storage solutions to make your space visually appealing. Step 5 is to create an atmospheric mood board. If you've been here a while, then you'll know that I'm a sucker for a good mood board, but I think you've only seen me do interior mood boards, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, I know that all designers work differently, but I always like to provide my clients with an atmospheric mood board before I show them the interior and material mood boards, but don't worry, I'll explain the difference. Just to expand on my point, this is an atmospheric mood board for a client who wanted a kitchen remodel. This was the concept we came up with, but notice how there isn't much interior design on it. But the general idea is that they would get the sense of the impression left in their newly imagined space. I hope that kind of makes sense. The atmospheric mood board is how you want the space to feel, and I think that's a part of the design process that a lot of people forget about, and they just hone in on how they want the appearance to be. What kind of environment are you trying to create? Or quite simply, what is the atmosphere like? What's going to help you conjure inspiration for that atmospheric mood board is by choosing a couple words or an overarching theme to describe your space. Maybe that word could be cozy, or modern, functional, or maybe you could focus on wellness as a theme this year. In which case the theme wellness leads you to creating a space dedicated to personal wellness, like a home gym, a yoga corner, or even simply a spa-inspired bathroom. Oftentimes, if you're able to select adjectives for your desired interior or an overall theme for your home, you'll be able to find inspiration online a lot quicker. So now that the atmosphere is down, you can start to piece together how that will be conjured by using physical home decor pieces. Again, I'll use my client's design as an example. The interior mood board brings together various elements such as colours, textures, materials, furniture, and accessories to convey the design concept. The mood board will serve as a reference point for you throughout the design process, helping to maintain consistency with the original concept you decided on. Now, I should say that I created these in Photoshop and InDesign, but of course, if you don't have those, you can do exactly the same type thing in Microsoft PowerPoint, or you could go old school and print everything out and put it on a pin board, or if you're rushed for time, then a Pinterest board would work just as well. Okay, so design concept complete. How are you actually going to source these items? I use lots of different design databases to source products, but one of the simplest ways is actually to use the Google Shopping tab. Always do that instead of going on a specific brand website, because you'll find the best deals and also different options on the shopping tab. Whereas if you go to a company site straight away, you're actually limiting yourself immediately. However, there is a trick to using it, and be as specific as possible. For example, if you're looking for a sofa and all you can think of is neutral sofa as a keyword, loads are going to come up in the results. But if you add the seats, material, and specific color, you'll get clear results. It's a search engine at the end of the day, not a store assistant that can decode what you're looking for. Or maybe you can actually upcycle furniture that's still in good condition. So look at the pieces you can keep and upcycle before you might give them away prematurely. I also have a checklist within this overall checklist, and it's the process in which you should start accumulating all these things to accomplish your design. First, the materials. Paint, wallpaper, or flooring will take time to implement into your home, so it makes sense to start with the largest space to cover. Next is large furniture. If you're replacing the floor, then the large furniture is going to be the next biggest expense. It's also great to fit the largest items into the space before anything else, because then you can start to see if you need to even buy any more. If you're buying things online, things can arrive a lot bigger than you anticipated or a lot smaller, so you'll be able to see how much you actually need. Next up is lighting, and I find lighting often gets forgotten about and it's usually an afterthought for people, but to me, lighting is kind of like the jewellery on an outfit. It makes the whole piece come together. Once that's done, look to your textiles, curtains, rugs, throw pillows, blankets, any type of fabric. No home would be complete without these items. And lastly, this is when you get to add all the knickknacks to your space. The home decor items that we don't necessarily need, but they make your interior feel fully realised. Okay, let's talk money. Set a realistic budget for your dream home projects. This will help you to prioritise and allocate funds to different areas, hopefully without overspending. I think it's so easy to buy something online that you love the look of. It gets to your house and then you realise, oh, I've blew almost all of the budget just on this certain item, because you get swept up in the appearance of it. And my last tip, well, it's not really a tip, it's more of a side note really, and it's to enjoy the process, and it's definitely something I struggle with myself. Because I'm a designer and I have a plan to a T and I know exactly how I envision the space, I kind of want the design to be implemented overnight. So I myself am going to try and enjoy the process, even if it takes a longer time than I originally thought. Remember, the key is to reflect your personal style and preferences in every element. Just like a physical glow up, it's not only about the aesthetics, but also that internal glow up. And I hope that you can work that sentiment into your own home and create a space that brings joy and comfort to you and your family. I would love to hear how you're planning on changing up your home this year. Oh, we'll also be doing another Q&A video when we hit 50,000 subscribers, which is like crazy to me, because I remember when we had 10 subscribers and we were thrilled then. So please send in any of your design questions or questions if you just want to get to know us a bit better. Sometimes I feel like the videos can be a bit serious. They're focused on the design, obviously, but they can be a bit somber, so feel free to send in any kind of fun questions you might have. Please like and subscribe for more design videos, and if you need help fulfilling your own design dreams, I've left our website in the description. That's it for today's video. I hope that you have an amazing 2024 and I'll see you next week. Bye guys.